Could we redefine the norms? Let's take a deep dive into physical morality. This evening's lesson is drawn from the meditation manual I'm currently writing, Easy Enlightenment. The fifth fold of the Buddha's Eightfold Path is commonly known as right action, but I prefer to explain it as merely kind conduct. In the contemporary and corrupted practice of Buddhism, there are literally hundreds of rules. But that wasn't always the case. Originally, there were only 4 rules. Wish others well, communicate kindly, conduct yourself kindly, practice commerce kindly. In other words, 50% of the Buddha's Eightfold Path was simply loving kindness. What happened? Einstein once quipped, or at least it is said that he quipped, that any educated idiot can make things more complicated, more difficult, more violent. But that it takes a lot of courage and a little bit of genius to go in the opposite direction. A few centuries ago, maybe a couple centuries ago, the great Tibetan yogi Karma Chakme Rinpoche insisted that the essence of morality was simply non-violence. So what happened in Buddhism? Yang. There are some people who are taught to be rigid, fearful, controlling, elitist, cryptic, competitive, and cruel. And these are the type of people who yearn for positions of power and authority, and they will claw and scratch to accomplish those positions of authority. And then once they do, it becomes clear to those of us who can see clearly that they know not of what they speak. This is inferred in the Buddhist tale of Gautama's wicked cousin Devadatta, who craved for glory and importance, sowed division in the Sangha, set up his own Sangha, and did such a terrible job that everybody left him. Fortunately, there's always going to be a minority of folks who think it's wonderful to be flexible, loving, laid-back, egalitarian, lucid, cooperative, and kind. These are the folks who will find the most efficient way to practice, the easiest way to practice. So, we don't have to strive to conduct ourselves in a kind way. In fact, it works better if we don't. When we rely on active concentration and active contemplation, our blood collects in our amygdala, feeding our aggression and our aggression and our anxiety. When we swap out active concentration for passive mindfulness, when we swap out active contemplation for passive meditation, that same blood mass shifts to a hunk of meat described as our anterior cingulate gyrus, found just a few centimeters behind our forehead. It functions as the hub of our mirror neurons, the seat of empathy. That is why it is said that the highest love is spontaneous and uncontrived. Now let's take that a step further. Consider, if you will, this gal the color of a cumulus cloud. Notice how she actively delights in tantric union. This reminds us that contrivance is always trumped by spontaneity. Please consider her partner, who appears to be passively enjoying the same tantric union. This reminds us that not all spontaneity is created equal, and that the scattered spontaneity we might experience after our third consecutive espresso will always be trumped by the centered spontaneity that is shaped by our regular practice of mindfulness and meditation. Now let's take it a step further. When our choices, utterances, and deeds flow from the effortless effort of love's centered spontaneity, then our life can be very much like a paradise depicted in Buddhist art. The more consistently and correctly we practice mindfulness and meditation, the more spontaneously kind we will act. We can't help ourselves. To paraphrase Agent Smith from the first Matrix movie, kindness becomes an inevitability. I do look forward to chatting and meditating with you after approximately 30 seconds of housekeeping. This is Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School. For more than 30 years, I have spent about 8 hours a day, almost every day, studying, practicing, mastering, and reverse engineering the teachings and techniques of each sect of Buddhism so that you would not have to. Welcome, my friends, to Meditate Like a Jedi, which is made possible due to the generosity of viewers just like you. Now, before we start this evening's chanting and meditating, I need to open up a different practice text. Please bear with me. This morning I did silent meditation, but because of one of my, one of my disabilities, I have chronically ridiculously low levels of dopamine, and silent meditation makes me ridiculously mellow to the point where I cannot think straight. So one moment, if you please. I'm going over here and I'm going to click Documents, and now I'm going to click D, going to click Dzogchen, I'm going to click C, going to click Chinrei Zeek, I'm going to click Easy Meditation, I'm going to click this year, this month, this quarter, month, and go straight to yesterday's text. Now I'm going to strive to adjust OBS, and lo and behold, I've changed texts. Welcome to this evening's live stream. The moment you have a specific question about Buddhist chanting, Buddhist meditation, Buddhist philosophy, or how to apply them, please type your question in great detail immediately. Please do not sit on your question till the end of class, for by that time my brain will have transformed into tapioca pudding. Much like cooking pancakes, we're going to flip and flop between mantra meditation and silent meditation. So let's begin by reviewing the meaning of the mantra. I invoke the wish of healing, Mani, jewel of love, and the purifying beam, lotus of letting go. Supplicating womb with love and letting, may love and letting go be mastered by all. This evening's first practice of bliss and letting go is described in Tibet as Lama Kieno and translated into English as calling the teacher as from afar. Well, I guess I got ahead of myself, didn't I? The name of this practice text is Kind Gaze's Easy Meditation, known in Sanskrit as Avalokiteshvara and in Tibet as Chenrei Zig. Those who are rigid and fearful and controlling tend to superstitiously view Kind Gaze as an entity to be worshipped and supplicated. However, those who have the very good fortune to train in being flexible, loving, and laid back will view Kind Gaze merely as an archetype of enlightened compassion, and whose iconography reminds us that we are already wired to master, no less practice, awareness and letting go, as well as love and letting go, not to mention bliss and letting go. So now we turn our attention to that bliss and letting go, and we consider this graphic, the bronze reminding us of our enlightened potential, and the red-colored couple sporting in tantric union literally remind us of the sensations we might experience at our crown during this exercise, and figuratively remind us of the teachings. So, what is the key that what is the philosopher's stone that transforms the lead of mindlessly reciting a mantra into the gold of spiritually productive mantra meditation? I would insist to you the secret is twofold. First, during the inhalation, we silently, mentally, and passively recite an italicized bit. Second, during our exhalation, we physically relax as best we can while striving to chant this 6-syllable mantra 8 times per breath. Now, if this is your first time, please give yourself permission to have a learning curve. Play with this exercise 5 minutes every 12 hours, and within a week or two, you'll get it down. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. Pardon me. Once you're comfortable with the mantra, I do not recommend concentrating or staring, but it can be useful to rest your eyes upon the one word in the italicized phrase that is comprised entirely of capital letters. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. Let us take 4 steps to the mastery of mindfulness meditation. Our first step, like most first steps, is clunky. During our inhalation, let us silently and mentally, let me rephrase it. When we notice our body spontaneously inhaling, let us silently and mentally recite, perceiving this very turbulent play of mind. And when we notice our body exhaling, let us silently and mentally recite, relaxing into mind's non-graspable nature. So I like to do this for 16 rounds, but I count so much faster than you because I'm doing all this talking. I keep track of the rounds, and of course I define a round as 1 inhalation and 1 exhalation. So on my left hand, I advance my left thumb during each inhalation. Let's practice. Let us turn our attention to the outer set of preliminary practices described in Sanskrit, which could be described in Sanskrit as Sutra Alpak and in Tibetan as Do Ngondro. Come, let us be vulnerable to the stress of others, for doing so sows the seeds of our own empathy. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. Rather than fearing interdependence as some sort of punitive mechanism, let us view interdependence as that which allows our love to lighten others' loads. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. Let us not view the specter of death as the threat of hell, but rather as that which points out the folly of grasping. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. Instead of using guilt to force ourselves to make the most of each precious meditation opportunity, let us merely flow from the effortless effort of love's centered spontaneity, thus finding ourselves doing the right thing effortlessly. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. We come to our second stepping stone on the path of mastery of mindfulness and meditation. As promised, we have graduated from the 12-syllable exercise to a set of 2 3-syllable exercises. During the inhalation, please silently and mentally recite sitting tall, thus reminding our body to generate a vertical traction between our tush and our head. During our exhalation, let us silently and mentally recite the 3-syllable verb relaxing. Relaxing isn't a contrivance due to the nature of our parasympathetic nervous system. During each exhalation, we are already wired for physical relaxation as well as mental release. Let us turn our attention now to the inner set of preliminary practices inspired by the final meditation manual of the inspired by the final meditation manual. Let's try that again. Inspired by Heart Treasure of the Enlightened Ones, which is lauded by the 14th Dalai Lama, and is the final meditation manual of the great Tibetan yogi Za Paltrul Rinpoche. This could be described in Sanskrit as Tantra Alpak or Gyu Ngondro. Bear in mind, I am a terrible linguist. Let us cultivate the empathy that yearns to free all beings everywhere from the toxic tyranny of forever being controlled by our impulses hateful, greedy, and clinging. Om mani mimi yung mani mimi yung Om mani mimi yung mani mimi yung Om mani mimi yung mani mimi yung Om mani mimi yung mani mimi yung. It is awfully nice that we can wish to free everyone from the 3 mental poisons, but wishing ain't gonna get the job done. If we want to really help folks as much as we'd like to, then we gotta rely upon the Buddha's example and instructions and students, which are known metaphorically as the 3 wish-fulfilling jewels. Om mani mimi yung mani mimi yung Om mani mimi yung mani mimi yung Om mani mimi yung mani mimi yung Om mani mimi yung mani mimi yung. One of the most efficient ways of squandering our time and our energy and our relationships is by indulging our defensive tendencies. How much wiser could it be to invest that same energy in learning from our numerous mistakes? Om mani mimi yung mani mimi yung Om mani mimi yung mani mimi yung Om mani mimi yung mani mimi yung Om mani mimi yung mani mimi yung. Death is an inevitability, but we take the edge off of it by rehearsing our passing. If at the time of our death, our mind, our subtle energies coalesced into our very subtle mind in our central channel at the level of our heart. And it, like an arrow, shot up our central channel, out our crown, and into the heart of our teacher overhead, who is ultimately nothing more than the mastery of awareness and letting go. And from that mastery, if we turned back and gazed upon our cadaver and our possessions, it would be very nice as a parting gift to wish that that as many people as possible could benefit from them. Om mani mimi yung mani mimi yung Om mani mimi yung mani mimi yung Om mani mimi yung mani mimi yung Om mani mimi yung mani mimi yung. We come to the 3rd stepping stone that takes us closer to the mastery of mindfulness and meditation. During our inhalation, please silently and mentally recite, notice this. Thus, practicing mindfulness, this really isn't a contrivance, because our sympathetic nervous system is already wired to notice, vulnerably, passively, viscerally, and randomly during each inhalation. During our exhalation, let's persist in silently and mentally reciting the 3-syllable verb, relaxing. We come now to this evening's third practice of bliss and letting go, described in Sanskrit as Guru Yoga and in Tibetan as Lama Najor. Om Mani Mimi Yung Mani Mimi Yung 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 Om Mani Mimi Yung Mani Mimi Yung. Last we come to the fourth stepping stone, where we trade in our 3-syllable exercises for a streamlined set of 1-syllable exercises. Having chanted the mantra 32 times, let us kick back and watch the antics of mind as silently and mentally we recite the demonstrative pronoun this. And during our exhalation, let us relax into mind's non-graspable nature as silently and mentally we recite the 1-syllable verb ease. Having climbed to contemplative cruising altitude, together as a team, let us meditate as transformatively as Obi-Wan Kenobi upon the toasty sands of Tatooine, under the continued guidance of the Force Ghost of Qui-Gon Jinn. Let us bring the experience of the 4 bases of mindfulness into the conventional path of love and letting go, where it is love that is emphasized as we leap over jealousy. Now, our job is not to actively visualize or emote or believe. All we gotta do is play with these words, and we'll wind up exercising the neural pathways responsible for love. Let us lovingly wish that each mind of each being now possess the enlightened wisdom of a real or imagined Buddha, symbolized by a one-syllable mantra, or seed mantra, or bija mantra. Om mani mimi yung mani mimi yung Om mani mimi yung mani mimi yung Om mani mimi yung mani mimi yung Om mani mimi yung mani mimi yung. Let us lovingly wish as we relax into the recitation of this mantra. May we lovingly wish that all beings' utterances now be as loving as a real or imagined Buddha's communication symbolized by mantra. Om mani mimi yung mani mimi yung Om mani mimi yung mani mimi yung Om mani mimi yung mani mimi yung Om mani mimi yung mani mimi yung. As we sit here impeccably chanting mantra, may we lovingly wish that each body or form of each being now enjoyed the health depicted in Buddhist statuary representing a yadam or archetype of enlightenment. Om mani mimi yung mani mimi yung Om mani mimi yung mani mimi yung Om mani mimi yung mani mimi yung Om mani mimi yung mani mimi yung. Let us lovingly wish that each circumstance or lot of each being now enjoy the safety and good fortune or boon depicted in Buddhist paintings, found in represented in Buddhist paintings depicting real or imagined Buddhist paradises or pure lands or vatis. Om mani mimi yung mani mimi yung Om mani mimi yung mani mimi yung Om mani mimi yung mani mimi yung Om mani mimi yung mani mimi yung. Welcome to this evening's live stream. The moment you have a specific question about Buddhist chanting, Buddhist meditation, Buddhist philosophy, or their application, please do not hesitate, but immediately type your question in great detail in the chat window. And don't be surprised when it takes me about 30 seconds or 60 seconds to notice your question, because YouTube gives us a lag time. Having chanted the mantra 32 times, let us kick back during our inhalation and watch the play of mind as silently and mentally we recite the demonstrative pronoun this. During our exhalation, let us relax into mind's non-graspable nature as silently and mentally we recite the one-syllable verb is. Let us practice letting go, or let us through a philosophical lens, as we bring the illusion of the horizontal duality of us and them into the dance of impermanence and interdependence known as Madhyamaka's yoga of inconceivability. As we physically relax into the verbal recitation of the 6-syllable mantra, each circumstance could begin to feel as impermanent, as if it could blissfully melt into rainbow light that could interdependently absorb into our body or form. Om mani mimi yung mani mimi yung Om mani mimi yung mani mimi yung Om mani mimi yung mani mimi yung Om mani mimi yung mani mimi yung. As we physically relax into the verbal recitation of the 6-syllable mantra, each body or form could begin to feel as if it was as impermanent, as if it could blissfully melt into rainbow light that could interdependently absorb into our own utterance of mantra. Om mani mimi yung mani mimi yung Om mani mimi yung mani mimi yung Om mani mimi yung mani mimi yung Om mani mimi yung mani mimi yung. As we physically relax into the verbal recitation of the 6-syllable mantra, all communication of all beings could begin to feel as if it was as impermanent, as if it could blissfully melt into rainbow light that could interdependently absorb into our own awareness. Om mani mimi yung mani mimi yung Om mani mimi yung mani mimi yung Om mani mimi yung mani mimi yung Om mani mimi yung mani mimi yung. As we physically relax into the verbal recitation of the 6-syllable mantra, each mind of each being could begin to feel as if it was as impermanent, as if it could blissfully melt into rainbow light that could interdependently absorb into a vast empty void. What is a real-world example of a non-graspable vast empty void? How about the illusion of the infinite azure sky on a bright and beautiful cloudless morn, which, although tantalizing to the eye, is intangible to the grasp? Om mani mimi yung mani mimi yung Om mani mimi yung mani mimi yung Om mani mimi yung mani mimi yung Om mani mimi yung mani mimi yung. Having chanted the mantra 32 times, let us rest in awareness and letting go, silently and mentally reciting vast during the inhalation, and silently and mentally reciting the noun void during the exhalation. Let us bring the 5 body regions into the path of bliss and letting go. Please chant with me. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever lower abdomen we might have noticed during our inhalation could begin to feel as not graspable as real or imagined, omogacity syllable of green light. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. As we relax into the recitation of the 6-syllable mantra, whatever navel we might have noticed during our in-breath could begin to feel as if it was as non-graspable as a vast empty void. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. As we relax into the recitation of the 6-syllable mantra, whatever chest we might have noticed during our previous inhalation could begin to feel as if it was as non-graspable as a vast empty void. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. As we relax into the recitation of our 6-syllable mantra, whatever throat we might have noticed during our previous inhalation can now begin to feel far less graspable. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. As we relax into our recitation of the 6-syllable mantra, whatever crown of our head we might have noticed during our inhalation begin to feel far less graspable. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. Now let us rest in awareness and letting go. Let us bring the 5 aggregates into the path of awareness and letting go. As we relax into the recitation of the 6-syllable mantra, whatever body or form we might have noticed during our previous inhalation could be able to feel as non-graspable as a vast empty void. Om mani mimi yung mani mimi yung Om mani mimi yung mani mimi yung Om mani mimi yung mani mimi yung Om mani mimi yung mani mimi yung. As we relax into the recitation of the 6-syllable mantra, whatever sensation of pleasure or pain we might have noticed during our previous inhalation can now feel considerably less graspable. Om mani mimi yung mani mimi yung Om mani mimi yung mani mimi yung Om mani mimi yung mani mimi yung Om mani mimi yung mani mimi yung. As we relax into the recitation of the 6-syllable mantra, whatever appraisal we might have noticed during our in-breath concerning the intensity of our pleasure or pain could begin to feel far less graspable. Om mani mimi yung mani mimi yung Om mani mimi yung mani mimi yung Om mani mimi yung mani mimi yung Om mani mimi yung mani mimi yung. As we relax into the recitation of the 6-syllable mantra, whatever impulses of hating or craving or clinging we might have noticed during our previous inhalation could begin to feel far less graspable. Om mani mimi yung mani mimi yung Om mani mimi yung mani mimi yung Om mani mimi yung mani mimi yung Om mani mimi yung mani mimi yung. As we relax into the verbal recitation, as we physically relax into the verbal recitation of the 6-syllable mantra, whatever experience of awareness we might have noticed during our previous inhalation could begin to feel far less graspable. Om mani mimi yung mani mimi yung Om mani mimi yung mani mimi yung Om mani mimi yung mani mimi yung Om mani mimi yung mani mimi yung. Let us relax into awareness and letting go. Let us bring the 5 thoughts into the path of awareness and letting go. As we physically relax into the verbal recitation of the 6-syllable mantra, whatever emotions we might have experienced during our previous inhalation could begin to feel as if they were as non-graspable as a vast empty void. Om mani mimi yung mani mimi yung mani mimi um. As we physically relax into the verbal recitation of this 6-syllable mantra, whatever intention we might have noticed during our previous inhalation could begin to feel as if it was as non-graspable as the illusion of the infinite azure sky on a bright and beautiful cloudless morn, which, although could be tantalizing to the eye, is not graspable to the hand. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. As we physically relax during the verbal recitation of the 6-syllable mantra, whatever thought we might have noticed during our previous inhalation could begin to feel as if it was as non-graspable as vast open space. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. As we physically relax into the verbal recitation of the 6-syllable mantra, whatever memories we might have experienced during our previous inhalation could feel far less graspable. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. As we physically relax into the verbal recitation of the 6-syllable mantra, whatever imaginings we might have noticed during our previous inhalation could feel less graspable. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. Let us transcend the illusion of samsara and nirvana's vertical duality, by metaphorically inviting all the real or imagined Buddhas, their paradises, and their denizens to dwell in the 84,000 pores of our skin, thus practicing the body mandala of duality's awareness and non-duality's release. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. Let us bring the spontaneous play of mind into the path of awareness and letting go. As we breathe in, we could silently and mentally recite relaxing into this. But what is this? This is whatever we notice during our inhalation. This is whatever we notice vulnerably, passively, viscerally, or randomly. This could be sights, sounds, sensations, flavors, scents, or the like. This could be emotions, intentions, thoughts, memories, or imaginings. This could be the external, the internal, the physical, the mental, the pleasurable, the painful, the interesting, the boring, the glorious, or the grotesque. What do we do with that which we notice? We let go, but how do we do that? By physically relaxing as best we can while verbally chanting the 6-syllable mantra. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. Having chanted the mantra 32 times, during our inhalation, let us kick back and watch the antics of mind, as silently and mentally we recite the demonstrative pronoun this. During our exhalation, let us physically relax into mind's non-graspable nature, as silently and mentally we recite the 1-syllable verb ease. Om mani mimi yung mani mimi yung 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 Om mani mimi yung mani mani mimi mani mimi mani mimi mani mimi mani mimi Om mani mimi mani mimi mani mimi mani mimi Om 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 mani mimi mani mimi Let us seal this evening's practice with a love that wishes for universal enlightenment and well-being. May all minds of all beings lucid, yet void no be as wise as a Buddha's mind symbolized by a one-syllable mantra. May all speech of all beings resounding, yet void no be as loving as a Buddha's speech symbolized by a multi-syllable mantra. May all forms of all beings sensual, yet void no be as healthy as a yadam depicted in Buddha's statuary. May all lots of all beings appearing, yet void no be as fortunate as a pure land of lore depicted in Buddhist paintings. If you feel that I have earned it, you could give this live stream a thumbs up. You could even support it if you wish. In approximately 10 and 2/3 hours, I would very much like to return to lead tomorrow's early meditation class and group practice. And if you are as geeky as me, may the Force be with you always.